No matter what Auburn does, they will find ways to disrespect the Tigers.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. We're dapping it up with the Darrell Dapprich, Montgomery radio legend, hanging out with us today. Darrell, we're going to talk about some of the defensive changes that need to happen from last week to this week, the offensive changes that need to happen from last week to this week. But we got to start out with the latest dose of disrespect from the national media because it just doesn't stop. It just doesn't stop. There are certain programs they want to praise, and there are certain programs that they just want to make sure don't get the respect that they deserve. The coaches poll comes out. I'm not really interested in that one because it says the same thing. The AP poll comes out. I thought for certain Auburn would be ranked. Why?
Well,
because they deserve to be.
Yeah, I actually take offense to the coaches poll more than I do the AP poll. And I know that it's not important to you, but they actually lost 9 votes in the coaches poll. So explain that.
That's ridiculous.
Explain that to me. I get the whole polls thing. Don't matter when. It takes care of itself. It's just so predictable that, and again, let me say this. The last couple of years, I've been in show me mode. You've been in show me mode. So I would expect writers to be in show me mode. But what Auburn, every year is supposed to be a clean slate. There should be no hangover about what Auburn was last year.
Yes.
When they did what they did last Friday night, that should have been enough to get them in the top 25. And to keep them out of the top 25, in my opinion, says you're looking for a reason to. Why should we expect any different? I mean, even when people can say all they want about, well, what's Auburn done since Harsin? When Auburn was winning under Malzahn in Tuberville at times, they still got disrespected. So it's not just a recency bias.
Well, the games have to matter. Why play them if they don't matter? Like, okay, I understand that there's some sort of judgment when you fill out an AP ballot. I get it. But Auburn has a top 25 resume in college football right now. That was a top 25 win. As far as when you rank them all, they've got a top 25 resume in college football. Oh, okay, it's not all about resume. Got it. Talent, quarterback, upside. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand how you could look at all of these things that supposedly go into account when the voters vote, and you don't have Auburn with a number next to its name looking for. I mean, you look at what Utah and Indiana did, and it's just like, okay, Utah's 25th, Texas Tech's 24th, which I get Texas Tech. I get that because of the talent, because of the roster. I get it. Indiana, whatever. They beat Old Dominion by 13 points. Who cares?
It was close in the third quarter, too. I mean,
who cares?
So, yeah.
Utah blew out UCLA. Okay, all right. But everybody loved Baylor, Darrell. Everybody thought Baylor was it. And now they're not because Auburn beat them by 2 touchdowns in Waco. And so now all of a sudden you get the rug pulled out from under you and say, okay, all right. Well, they just weren't that good. It's like at some point, and we'll get to that. And, obviously, we think Auburn will win these next 2 games and they go to Norman. And then at that point, there's nothing they can say at that point if that were to happen, because Oklahoma, boy, they love Oklahoma, ranked at 18th. But it's mind-blowing to me when you look at resume, when you look at roster and talent and upside. There's no reason for it, Darrell. It's ridiculous.
It's inconsistent because the things I've heard about Oklahoma are, well, yeah, they had a bad year last year, but they've made improvements to their roster. Spider-Man meme where they're pointing at each other, right? I mean, sound familiar? I mean, that's the problem. And I will say this, had the opportunity in the last few months to cross paths with some great Baylor people. Really appreciate their, relationship. They're the ones that should feel just as disrespected as Auburn in this. Because they were saying, well, at least, Auburn beat us and they're going to be a top 20 team. And they're looking at that going, man, they put no credence in our football team. They didn't think it was a big deal. The voters didn't think it was a big deal beating our football team. That's disrespectful to Baylor, too.
It's crazy. It's just such a bummer. But, oh well.
But you know what? Here's what I think about it. It's wrong. It's ridiculous, but keep bringing it. Keep bringing it. I really believe with all the hate that Auburn got in the offseason, the recruiting knocks, the Hugh Freeze golfing, the three quarterbacks, all the play callers, the Auburn got joked on and clowned on all offseason. And we were all saying, well, let the field wait till they take the field where it's a sanctuary. Just, Hugh Freeze will use this and say, guys, if you are feeling good about yourself even an inch after that win, don't. Because we gave up 400 yards in the air. We couldn't tackle. And, oh, by the way, the voters don't even think you're a top 25 football team.
Yeah, what you've done so far doesn't matter.
You just
we feel good about ourselves for a few minutes. Yeah. But if you go, yourself in the this upcoming weekend, doesn't matter. It's all out the window. So, yeah, I mean, I think that is the positive way to spin it. 100%. That's what the elite coaches do. They find any sort of negativity to use it as fuel. I hope this team is built like that. They're keeping receipts from what I've heard. This is another one. Add it to the list.
There's more receipts than at a CVS checkout. I mean, you know how you get that long.
Yeah, it's still printing.
It's still printing. Right. Auburn's are longer than that. Yeah.
It's there. It's there. For what it's worth, Auburn will play, a handful of teams on this. They've got Georgia is at 4. Oklahoma's at 18. A&M's at 19. Alabama is at 21.
Yeah, they play 18 and 19 back-to-back typically. 18, 19, and 4 back-to-back-to-back.
You're right.
How that plays out. So you really – we have screamed about how the schedule's top-heavy. If that isn't an indication, then allegedly you don't play another ranked team, perhaps, until the Iron Bowl, perhaps. Then, that shows you how that schedule gets real manageable after the Georgia game. And I'm not convinced that those 3 games, albeit they're going to be hard, are as difficult as I thought maybe at the beginning of the year.
That's interesting, and we'll definitely talk about that over the next few weeks for sure. Yep. There's some changes offensively that I think will happen, that have to happen from last week to this week, involving running back, involving receiver, and involving play calling. That's next right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who choose to do more than simply move. They follow what moves them every time they drive. And that's what makes Mazda stand out. They go beyond safety, style, and performance to deliver a driving experience that feels alive in every detail. Mazda offers more than safety. It's won more 2025 IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than anyone else. It's the small details that make the big plays. And just like there's more to every player, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Today's show is also brought to you by our friends at Alumni Hall. We love Alumni Hall. If there's any sort of Auburn game day I'm gearing up for, I'm going to Alumni Hall. I'm bringing my kids, and they lose it over all of the Obby stuff. Darrell, you've had a similar experience.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get a couple more things, bite the bullet, and buy some more gear for the granddaughters.
Got to.
I wore out. My wife has a ton. My daughters and son have it. It's now time to build up that stash for the granddaughters, and that's where I'm going, to Alumni Hall.
It's the best. I told you the story about how my youngest wore this like 9-month-old for like a 9-month of an Obby cheerleading thing, and she's the third of my kids to wear it. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. So Alumni Hall, 3 great physical locations in Auburn, Opelika, and Huntsville, and of course at alumnihall.com. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. We've talked a ton about the scheme. We all think Auburn's going to pass the ball more on Ball State. this Saturday, and we'll get to that at the end of the offensive conversation, Darrell. But as far as like who could play more and who could play less, I'm fascinated to see what they do with the receivers. Do we see more Sam Turner? Do we see Perry Thompson get at least a target? I think you're going to see more movement in the receiving core than any other position, despite Damari Alston being questionable.
Yeah, I think Cam Coleman's going to get a lot of targets because they need to get him going and get him in the flow and feed him, right? He's your stud. So I think he'll get,
let him eat.
Exactly. I think he is going to get a ton of targets early. And then I think you're right on target. I think Perry Thompson and Sam Turner, I suspect that Singleton will be limited, and it's only because he was not 100% Friday. And we know about the, perceived banged up. Just give him a good, solid rest to make him come back 100%. So Turner, Thompson, I want to see Fields more. I talked about quality over quantity, and by God, did he have quality. So see him, Cam, absolutely. And I'm trying to think if there's even, I'm going to say this. This is the kind of game that Cameron Parks would be nice to get in the game. The walk-on that was the social media sensation when Hugh Freeze presented him with the scholarship. He's now a scholarship receiver. Give him a couple throws,
That's a good one. Yeah, and then if they get into the second half and it's as lopsided as we think it could be, who are the guys that stay on the field when there's a quarterback change? I think that'll be fun to dissect the meaning behind as well, because one, how many of the backup quarterbacks play and how often? Do Ashton and Deuce play the same amount? Like, what does that look like? Because I don't want Deuce out there like with all backups. I'd like to see Deuce out there at least throwing to Perry and Turner, guys who we think will be starters in this program. I'm excited to see like what exactly that looks like.
That's a good point. I think they'll let him throw to Cam, maybe a couple of routes. We want to see him go get it.
You think Deuce will throw to Cam Coleman?
I think there might be a series, and when Deuce comes in, that Cam Coleman stays on the field to see what kind of rapport they have together in a game.
Man, that'd be electric. I don't think there's any shot that happens, but it would be electric.
It'd be nice. I think, and then, does he change centers? Because that's such a important position, snap of the ball. I would change the whole offensive line. And that's not only because I'd want to see the first string getter. I have that much confidence in the second string offensive line that can play and make a difference. So, I think you're probably right. Probably a complete flip, and you'll probably see Turner and Thompson and some of those guys out there when Deuce or Ashton are there. But I would love to see, not so much if Ashton's there, because them developing enemy chemistry is irrelevant. Ashton leaves, unless, God forbid, there was an injury. But Deuce, if you get Cam to stay another year, which I think you would, then Deuce and him next year allegedly should be, if Jackson Arnold moves on to the NFL, there's just possibilities everywhere that they could have to develop rapport and hook up. And so I'd like to see that initially.
Yeah. Then, you mentioned like platooning the offensive line. Would love to see Broderick Scholl. Would love to see Ty Buster. Would love to see DeAndre Carter. Interesting to see who they put at center. Is it Dylan Cinda? Is it Cale Ellis, the early enrollee? I'm high on a lot of these dudes. And so it'd be fun to see what they look like, because now we've got a year before a lot of those guys are really going to have to be a part of the equation.
Tyler Johnson, Seth Wilford. I mean, you've got guys. Yeah.
Keeps going. Yeah. 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 As far as the play calling differences, like the assumption is they're going to throw it more. I don't see the downside to throwing it more. I don't want Jackson to get hit. I don't really want our running backs to get hit unless it's like Darrell or Omar, because it seems like those guys aren't going to get as many of the like relevant touches that we might have thought at one point based off of one game. A lot can change, but I don't, especially if Damari plays very little to none at all. I don't want a full load to go towards Cobb because there's no reason for him to get hit 10 times. There's no reason for it. So I'd like to see more of a running back rotation, and then I want to see Jackson throwing the football because I don't want him carrying the ball, 8 times in the first half against Ball State, which Ball is not a state.
I want to see Jackson Arnold not keep it, but for a few times on RPOs. I want to see Jeremiah Cobb maybe get 7 carries at the most. All the running backs combined, I don't want to see more than 20 carries. Give Darrell 7 or 8. Give Omar 6 or 7. You know what I'm saying? It's 5 or 6. And then let Ashton Daniels come in if you're going to do any quarterback runs. Let him run some instead of Jackson. Just keep defenses honest. And then let Deuce, when he comes in, just air it out. And I don't want to see, like I said, the running backs carry it more than 20 times collectively Saturday for a couple of reasons. And I don't want Austin to get a carry at all. I want him carrying.
You wouldn't play Damari.
I want him carrying a towel around his neck and a bottle of water is the only thing I want to see him carrying on the sideline Saturday, period.
Got it.
There's no need. If you can't beat Ball State, Cobb can get 7 or 8 carries, and he can go for 50, 60 yards with those carries. Let Omar get in there and eat. Let Darrell Robinson get some carries. And you're going to be working on the passing game anyway. So, yeah, there's no need. There is no need.
I'm with you. There's some defensive changes as well, specifically in the secondary that we might see. That's next right here on Locked on Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Darrell, right now you can bet $5. And if your first $5 bet hits, you get $300 in bonus cash to use throughout the website. That's insane. Return on investment much? Yeah, a little bit. Auburn minus 43.5 against Ball State. The over-under is 53.5 points. It's a lot.
I know it's those high numbers like that. Heck no, just watch and have fun.
Yeah, I would be more likely to bet on the total here than the spread.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would probably take the over on 53.5. I think I would take the over on that.
I would absolutely.
Yeah, because usually
I'm not telling anybody to. I'm not giving any advice. I'm just saying I agree with you. But don't go out and go, Dapp and Zach said, hammer the over. No. We don't do that.
Yeah, that's right. If you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Today's show is also brought to you by our friends at Monarch Money. There's so many different accounts that we have, whether you've got an investment thing from a current employer or a former employer versus stuff that you've got on your own. It's all over the place. And then if you've got properties over and assets, it's easy to forget, Darrell. With Monarch Money, you can bring it all together. Not only that, can you manage your wealth, you also can manage your budget and track expenses all in one place. It's the easiest, most comprehensive financial app I've ever seen.
It's the best way to budget, to set a budget, and to see exactly, like you said, where your expenses are going. And if anything changes, sometimes there's a trending of something that's an expense. It's more this particular month. You need to know that. It cuts into everything.
Yep, that's right. Don't let this financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONCollege. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. There will be defensive changes for the secondary for many reasons. The most obvious and clear-cut one is Hugh Freeze announcing Champ Anthony will be out. Broke his thumb, will have to get surgery, and will miss time. He said he was out. And it's going to be interesting to see who plays in that spot. They're probably going to go to a freshman. And I'm curious between that safety spot and the nickel spot, what exactly that might look like from a rotation standpoint against Ball State.
It's going to be very interesting. There's so many different scenarios. Like you talked about putting that corner that's supposed to be on the field, that outside corner at the nickel, and then does Winters and Fagans, one of those two, start at the safety? I mean, what is your guess? Who do you think? Do you think Sylvester Smith lines up at nickel, or do you see a guy like Pleasant lining up at nickel?
I would like to see what it looks like to put a third corner on the field at nickel at some point. at some point, I mean, DJ Durkin, like, you got to cover and you've got to be sticky. And I think that screams more of a skill set for a corner. Nothing against Sylvester. I thought he was really good at safety last year. And we heard throughout fall camp how good he was at nickel. And so it forced Champ Anthony to move. And that was we felt like that was all a good thing at the time. And clearly it didn't happen against Baylor. And I don't think it was just one guy. I mean, I think there were certain guys where if you have a bad play at a defensive back spot, like it exposes you. Like, you can't hide behind anything. It's not like if you have a bad play at a defensive tackle spot, it's like, okay, it's a 6-yard run or whatever. You're not, and there's so many bodies, you can't fully tell. It's a different situation. And I think Hugh Freeze's answer about this at his presser on Monday was interesting, where they had this long talk Sunday, because what happened on the field Friday was so different than what they've seen throughout fall camp, where they seemed flat. They weren't crisp. They seemed tired. There was no energy. There was no emotion. And I just don't think that's who this defense is. Like, long term, that's not who this defense is. And so personnel is going to be something that I think changes. It has to, because Champ's not available and he played a good bit. But I trust the scheme because I trust Durkin. I want to see emotion. I want to see emotion and passion from this defense. And we didn't really see that Friday night.
No, we didn't. And there's one, schematically, Baylor did some things that made it difficult. Give their offensive coordinator credit, but you still can't. That doesn't alleviate the emotion, the energy, the tackling, that kind of thing. I think that's a one-off. I think that was a mirage. I think you'll see Auburn's defense get back to playing the way they're supposed to play. And if I had to predict, I think you're going to see Sylvester Smith stay at the nickel, and probably Eric Winters start at the safety.
I think that'll be the starting point. And I think they may rotate some guys around just to see what it looks like. I agree with you.
I'd like to see other looks, and you're going to see other looks because it's Ball State. So you may see, but I think that Strader and Pleasant are so crucial outside as backup corners. I don't think they want to mess with that.
The other element to this that is a little frustrating, but also, like, control what you can control. I don't think Ball State's going to pass it too much.
Well, their quarterback is not a passing threat, is he?
He's not a quarterback. He didn't play quarterback last year.
Yeah. It takes a couple
new
years
coach that they've got, like, he's real dead set on, like, creating a culture about, like, running the football and being physical or whatever. And I mean, it could get really bad really quick.
It'd be interesting to see how many Auburn put in the box and who they walk up to the line of scrimmage.
I think you sell out and you make them pass it. You make them pass it. Put these DBs in one-on-one situations. You rock the quarterback. Let them throw under pressure. Let these corners get some interceptions, build their confidence back up. Let's go cook. I think that's what's going to happen.
Because Auburn had 4 sacks against Baylor and had 3 or 4 more that they just.
Somebody on the show predicted that. And I feel like he looked a lot like yourself.
Yeah, I think somebody did say 4. You said 3, didn't you? No,
yeah, I said
Kyle said 3.
Kyle said 2, but the impact would feel large. Yeah.
And they could have gotten to him 2 or 3 more times. So if they get that kind of pressure on a guy like Robertson and that offensive coordinator that schemes to get rid of the ball early, you drop back, it could get ugly. That's why I think they'll run it a lot. And
this will be a quick game. The clock's not going to stop very often.
No, it's not. It's 6:30. It's supposed to be nice in the upper 70s as far as kick. Light shows, right? Auburn fan base feeling good after that big win, first home game. Going to be electric. I mean, and that speaks volumes about how I think great an atmosphere is going to be against an opponent like Ball State.
Yeah, that's right.
They're hungry.
That's right. Yeah, and I think that I want this defense to not be embarrassed. That's not the right word, but I want them to be like, we can't do that again. Like what we did against Baylor, that can't happen again.
No, I think that's already a mindset that some of the leaders on defense have, and I think they're going to absolutely come out ready to reverse that trend and overturn that narrative.
Yeah.
Frothing at the mouth is the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of this defense Saturday.
What is it?
Frothing at the mouth.
That's gross.
I mean, it's like a dog, right? I think they're going to be getting after. I think they're going to be very, very, very ready to hit somebody to disprove the narrative that they can't tackle and wrap up.
Sure.
That's going to you just watch. It's going to be really, really, I think, just very visually obvious early on.
Okay. I love it.
Yeah.
I love that. How can people check out everything you've got going on?
You can follow me on X, DAP6410. Obviously, Wednesdays and Fridays with you here on Locked on Auburn, and then Sunday nights at 8 in the barn with Kyle Rush to do a little live show.
Quick programming note, since we're kind of back to quote-unquote normal, I will go live after the game. Then Darrell and I will have a show that drops Sunday morning. And then everything else will be normal after that. So very excited. Very excited stuff. And we started doing this SEC roundtable thing Sundays at noon. I'm not able to make that recording time, but I will send videos in of me talking to the guys and my thoughts on the weekend. So that'll play in that as well. So that'll get dropped on this channel. So please like the video, please subscribe, and we will see you next time. This has been Locked on Auburn.